Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing invasion of the Soviet Union. So let's get at this. Alright. Try to move Rome on because I don't want them to shatter. Just let them retreat. We're gonna see. Okay, well they're attacking, so well, we're attacking. Are they attacking along with us? Yeah. No. Hoping having these Romanians here help us out. Not happy about that. They're probably gonna. Collapse. Bug unit here. Good, and making some progress. They're retreating. Now, just a little side information on the channel. Don't know if you guys are that interested in it, but I get to see all the countries that viewers. Number one with about 20% is the U.S. and don't know if I mentioned this before in some of my research about YouTube. They try to sort of show videos locally that maybe a little bit more relevant to the U.S. with a very large market before they show them nationally. So like Belgium sort of equals local, I guess is what I'm saying. But because of a few things, I've gotten starting some views in some other countries, and I think they're offering them up, you know, for other countries if they want, you know, search on the right search terms for them. And so the US at about 20% is number one. Number two is Germany. with about 14% of all views. That then it had been for a while, a little bit back and forth between the United Kingdom and Sweden for the number 3 slot, and they were both hovering right around at 6%. But recently, Britain has taken off, and they've moved up to about 7.5%, and Sweden's fallen all the way down to about 5% or more down. So they're going down, and then after that, it's Canada, and then it's Finland. So I'm just wondering what's up with Sweden, is why the percent has gone down or there as opposed to some other places. If there was something with the percent is, I just think that's sort of interesting. Let's see if we can get in here before. Okay. Panzerschreck. Motorized goods. Yeah, we will go with this. We have the manpower to afford it. BlackICE and supplies, so yeah. Flotilla, sure. Oh, yeah. Because we didn't get them into the Axis soon enough, Britain annexed Iran. Soviet Union got a little bit of it. That's what happened historically. I've modified the event with Third Reich Events that this will only happen if Iran is not in the Axis. Then this won't happen. And it will only happen after the Soviet Union is at war with Germany. So, okay, so they've got that. Well, there goes one of my potential allies, but it also means potentially more fronts we get to invade there if we like. Okay, let's see. I fixed these because we had one that crashed the desktop. My first recording this session, so hopefully this one's too much. Okay, so we have police here. Well, this event fires at some point after the fall of Singapore. They has to wait for the next month, the way the game works. So Britain gains 5 in dissent and lose 5 national immunity. Because Singapore is an important colony, mostly a trading colony as opposed to a production, colony situation, as most of the colonies, the way Britain set them up. And even they themselves weren't a major, they were a trader in raw materials, so that they got from all over the region, not just British colonies, but all over the region. And so that is, but they had set it up as sort of, the thought was it was the Gibraltar of the East, and it was very well fortified, but only from the sea, because they presumed that the jungles of Malaya would greatly hinder any invading force, and they'd have to use the roads to sustain any attack, and that they could hold the roads. Well, the Japanese were able to bypass the strong points on the roads. They would fall after, they had to sustain the offensive. Maybe we should go over to Malaya. The roads, if I'm not mistaken, are mostly down this side of Malaya here. they would bypass and get behind basically roadblocks, and roadblocks is in like a brigade or a few battalions or something, and they would get behind and cut off the supplies or potential supplies, and they weren't like strongly fortified positions. They were just, you know, from all directions. They were just, okay, we're going to stop here and continue to supply you. Once they were cut off, they quickly ran out of ammunition and the ability to, as the British sought to fight, and sometimes they were able to sort of get themselves back out, and other times they were cut off and surrendered. And so there was, but a lot of them I think got out. I'd have to look it up to know. But and so the British had this all like coastal fort fortified here. Obviously this is out of scale because I want it big enough so we can click on it. And it did have, you know, mostly the coastal guns, but it did have some anti-landing kind of fortification. But it had no real fortifications to the rear, and it was a critical situation. And by the time they got down, by the time the Japanese got down here, the British were disheartened, particularly the command structure. And what they, of course, Japan isn't looking at this right now, and they got an almost 9% revolt risk, and they haven't even left a garrison here of any sort. You could look at lots of rare materials that they could nicely have. The Japanese that were attacking them weren't super troops. They, you know, they were good troops. This is not a knock on the Japanese, but they weren't some wonder troops or anything. They just had a lot of bicycles as part of their invasion, and instead of a motorized invasion, because they, you know, were transported on ships and landed and got down here. And so moving their supplies on bicycles, and in some ways it's sort of like, I think, the situation in the Ho Chi Minh Trail up here, in which the bicycles were loaded down with the equipment or supplies, and the guys walked the bicycles, you know, sort of pushed the bicycles instead of rode on the bicycles to carry their supplies. So they were able to move through the jungle in places that the British really didn't think could, and they got down here. So by the time they were down here, the British forces, and there were some recent Anzac troops that were sent up in here that were ready to fight. And so the troops themselves weren't demoralized so much as the, and they were good troops. They weren't just some, you know, garrison troops that were, you know, sort of glorified police officers or similar such that weren't really prepared for modern warfare. They were good troops. And the Japanese, and the British didn't necessarily know this, but the Japanese were outnumbered by the garrison defenders. And, you know, obviously if the British had really been vigorous in its counterattacks, they could have really changed the situation. Not saying they would have for sure won or anything like that, but they could have really usually fought back. And the critical point is like I was talking about, all the fortifications were facing the sea, at least the professionally built, well-prepared fortifications. They didn't have any facing inland, and unlike some of the disappearing guns that, you can look them up, that were along the U.S. coastline, you could turn all the way around. They were sort of like pictured here, in which they had a limited arcs of fire with a lot of top, you know, bunkerage concrete on them, so that they couldn't use the heavy artillery to shoot, you know, as fire support, you know, the attacking forces. So they were just big, expensive guns that couldn't defend the capital, or whatever you want to call it here. And so they couldn't use that. And the real key factor is the some of the main water supply for Singapore was, I gather, more on the mainland or some other places the Japanese were able to capture. And so it cut off Britain from the British troops there, and the population as well, from water supply. And so even and they had been building, you know, entrenchments, you know, guys digging in the earth and using logs and sandbag kind of fortifications in preparation to defend against the Japanese. But they got down so fast, and the Japanese were able to capture the water supply for the city, and that just forced the British to surrender. So this was a major blow, as well as what was it, Prince of Wales and Pulse or whatever that were sunk out here by the British air power. I mean Japanese air power, like the British ships. So that's why this is such a big hit to Britain, and it's realistic in that. Yeah, we'll go with expand air bases. Okay. Now, I'm building a few more infantry divisions here, and I don't believe in. I'm not going to make divisions that are, you know, all artillery to, just because they would be winners. And I'm building historically type divisions. So, but saying that is I'm building both rocket and regular artillery within one division. I understand within BlackICE, and I've only looked at it a little bit since it's come out, has changed it so that artillery now more gives not so much soft attack as it does in regular or in 7 here. It sort of is a major combined arms multiplier, but rocket artillery gives a lot of soft attack with BlackICE 8. But so here, and the Germans definitely, and I can look at, I mainly, look at the order of battle, and a lot of them are SS divisions, but they have the smoke troops is sort of what they call the rocket artillery, as well as regular artillery batteries. So that's very historical in that they, some divisions had both, and sometimes the rocket artillery batteries were set up on more for like core assets that would be loaned to divisions as they needed them for offensive. So I'm building a few of these just to be able to assault some, if we're still playing when these things 110 days out. That's why I say if they're playing this, we will have a few of these divisions set up. And the one thing to get the rocket artillery that I've omitted is anti-aircraft, just because we have a lot of the divisions with anti-aircraft. But otherwise it's a very, very balanced division, at least as I see it. But this will give us, and we have the numbers for it, this will give us sustainability in combat. And what's just come out is an armored division that I've quite some time ago built, or put in the production queue. I'm thinking I'm looking at the northern front for this. Let's put it here. What is it? One dressed in Panzer Black. Rebel. Right ball. I don't think he's been assigned to anybody yet. Where is he? Some of these generals I know from reading books, not necessarily their books, but books in which they're mentioned in, as well as short articles and things like that, so that they're real people. Others are just, I'm used to seeing them here. Well, maybe I already got assigned somewhere. Yeah. Who else do we have as a good Panzer? Real deep well. Okay, well, we're producing, even though we're down at, well, part of that is just because of some of the events we just had. But we're producing almost 40 more than we need. ICs are producing supplies. we're not going to upgrade. Well, maybe. See up here. Yeah, we might as well. We'll upgrade these guys. Got these here, and they've sort of bottlenecked me, and I'm going to try, maybe when I get this out here, sort of hoping now that they've bottled me up in here, and I can pull off another withdrawal like I did down in the Caucasus and Batumi with these forces here if I wish to. But I'm sort of hoping Finland gets in, and then which will push in some of these other points, and then we can work together and cut these forces off. So yeah, let's upgrade them. So now we have a much better, probably a bit too large for history at 20,000. Had they been at a pier back down here or somewhere, I wouldn't have done it, but since they're local. Okay, supply organization has advanced. That is useful. Means we're 100% increase on supply throughput. Will help some of these units. Aero engine research has advanced. I'd be interested to hear. Mid-air refueling, I obviously know what it is, but did they really do it in World War II? I don't know that they did. That would be interesting if anybody has any information on it. It's like this and a few others that I don't research because I don't think they're a historical theoretical possibility, because obviously they were, I think, started to do some of this stuff by the Korean War. I'm not saying you didn't prototype it, have some tests in which they did a mid-air refueling successfully, but I mean as a common practice. If they did, I would research it, but since I don't think they did, I don't do that. I don't know if that's just because I'm overly a historical nut or just trying to play a World War II game as opposed to a fantasy game or something. Air systems would help. The main reason I don't like this one is because it adds so much build time to it. I don't like decreased build time. And again, like IFF transponders, did they have that? Did any nation have that? Maybe we have some air enthusiasts in the viewing audience here that could point me to an interesting thing that showed IFF type capabilities. Lost provinces. Okay. Oh. Finland just joined. Okay, what I did was, I know we're mentioning it on the board, and some people thought if we got one of these, and I didn't see, and it could be somewhere that I'm not looking for it, but I didn't see any Finland joins if I got these adjacent provinces. it had again, I'm not sure whether this is WAD, it works as designed or what, but it had, I removed the checks that for Finland to want to join, in one case that it had to be in 1941, because we're playing this in 42 is what I think was sort of the problem, because we started in 42, so the 41 wasn't working. And then another event sort of related to it, but different one, required Finland to be at war with the Soviet Union and Germany to declare war. And I took that to meaning as if Germany declares war while like the Winter War is still going on, Finland would join at that point. So I removed um, the date 41 from it. This is all I did, because I'm taking this as fixing a bug and not trying to make my war easier. Is I removed the year date requirement, which yeah, we don't want them joining. But well, so theoretically, if you haven't, the way I would program it is to have the Winter War set a flag for Germany or for Finland, so that once that happens, then at any time after that, so if Germany declares war in 1936 or something against the Soviet Union before the Winter War ever starts, Finland will just stay out of it. But if the Winter Wars happened anytime after that, Finland will come in on Germany's side, or come in on Germany's side if Germany goes to war with the Soviet Union while Finland's at war with the Soviet Union. So let's see. We can do don't send help. We can send forces up there. We can give the forces to Finland. I don't trust the AI, so I'm going to go with, we're going to have forces up there, but we're going to do it. Yeah, these are big heavy guns, and I don't know if they're going to be needed to get Moscow or something. So we're going to go with this. No, thank you. Because we want to lower the descent. We don't need any energy. Wolf Schultz 2. Build it, not build it. Organization game till October. Manpower 5% ICs until October 3rd. Build it. Manpower is a problem. Manpower is not a problem. Supplies, well, we're going negative anyways. ICs, 5%. Okay, so now we have Finland in, and we have ourselves. Okay, so well, now we've just lost one of my core commanders there. Maybe a few others. So I just learned an exploit there. And I think it's probably sort of is an exploit. I'm going to give them, because I don't think they're meant for us to give them generals, but whatever. Might as well do it early while we can. We gotta take that, I'm gonna look at the picture itself. offensive guidance. Army, not Air Force. Oh, Air Force. Luftwaffe. There we go. Light armor, plus tank. That was the guy I was looking for. So, bypass let's go for level 2 armor guy. SS. Okay, well, let's see. We're going to set this as an objective for Are they not showing up yet? They're not showing up. Okay, well, that can be shortly. Did you? They're still battling down here. Okay, okay, yeah, we got Finland in. So now, hopefully, we can deal better. They're already retreating, so what we're going to do here is, it'll disrupt their organization, but hopefully it'll be useful. Let's see, do we have somebody good for this job? River crossing. Yeah, he might do good. He needs to be attached. The counterattack there will do well. So that'll still do well, even though it's no red at the moment. southern flank. Yeah, I am a little worried. September already, worried about winter. Hopefully we can have a good border by then. Now the question comes down to is what should I do about here? Should I re-invade or not? So I'm not always sure I'm going to be able to pull off my withdrawal. Okay, well I think we're going to call it an end of an episode. Thank you for viewing. We will be continuing this.